Today we are comparing real numbers, okay? So let's take a look at these first ones. We have 22 sevenths, or 22 divided by 7. Can reason my way through this without using a calculator, recognizing that 7 goes into 22 three times and it has 1 out of 7 left over. So we're going to be somewhere here really close to 3.1, okay? And then the square root of 11, I'm going to jump down and use a number line to help me with this problem. And I know the square root of 11 is going to fall between two whole numbers. And if I have 3, the square root of 9 is 3. And then the number 4, I have the square root of 16. The square root of 11 falls between these two numbers right about here, okay? And I'll have the square root of 12, 13, 14, and 15 also in between, okay? So the square root of 11 is going to be 3, and there are 7 spaces between the square root of 9 and the square root of 16. So I'm going to use 7 as my denominator. And then 11 is only 2 out of those 7 spaces. Okay, so let's jump back up. So I have 3 and 2 sevenths. Okay, and this one, when I convert it to a mixed number, I have 3 and 1 seventh. Okay, so square root of 11 is going to be a little bit closer to the, or a little bit larger. So I'm going to use 22 sevenths is less than the square root of 11. Okay, now let's take a look at number 2. Let's do this again. So we have the square root of 23. Again, I'm going to drop down and use a number line here. Again, this is no calculator on this, okay? So I have the number 4, which is the square root of 16, and I'm going to have the number 5, which is the square root of 25, okay? And the square root of 23 falls between these two numbers, okay? And again, I have 4, and there are 9 spaces between the square root of 16 and the square root of 25. And 23, square root of 23 is 7 out of those 9 spaces. Okay, 4 and 7 ninths. So I'm going to write 4 and 7 ninths here for that one. And then my square root of 98. Okay, again, I'm going to use a number line here. The square root of 98 I know is really, really close to 10 because the square root of 100 is 10. And it'll be between 9 and 10, square root of 81. Okay, 98 again is very close to 10. So I have 9, and there are 19 spaces between square root of 100 and square root of 81. And 98 is 17 spaces over. Okay, so again, very close to being to that 10. Okay, and for our purposes here, this is technically, we figured out that this was 9 and 17 nineteenths. That is so close to 10. I'm going to go ahead and estimate that at 10 over 2, which is really, really close to 5. Okay, so that's going to be about here on my number line, slightly less, but not very. And then 7 ninths, if I turn that into its 0.7 repeating, so that's going to be about here. So again, this is going to be square root of 23 is less than. Okay, so when you're comparing real numbers, you are estimating both. And then based on that estimating, you are using your inequality or your equal sign to determine which one is larger or smaller. Okay, there are several more examples that you can look at here. I come down to number 5 that has this pi symbol involved here. Okay, so we have the negative, and we've got negatives involved here. So we have negative square root of 27, okay, where again, I would use a number line to help me on this. So I'm going to come down. Okay, so square root of 27 is going to fall between -5 and -6 because -5 is going to be the negative square root of 25, and -6 is going to be the negative square root of 36. Okay, and the negative square root of 27 falls really close to that negative square root of 25. So we're going to have -5, and there are 11 spaces between my negative square root of 25 and negative square root of 36. So 11 is my denominator, and it is 2 spaces over. So 2/11, which is going to be really close to -5.2, or 2 out of 10. Okay, it's really close to that. So, okay, so we have -5 and 2/11 here. And then on this one, we're going to take -3 times pi. And pi is approximately 3.14. And we are multiplying this by 3. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and multiply that out. And we're going to get 9.42. Okay, and then this is going to be divided by 2. Okay, so we're taking 9.42 divided by 2, and we get 4.71. So -4.71. Okay, we can also estimate this very roughly as pi is 3. Okay, so -3 times 3 is going to be a -9, divided by 2 is about -4.5. Okay, and you can see it's slightly larger than that, but when we estimate this here, it looks like 5 and 2/11 is larger, but remember, these are negative numbers. Okay, so the larger the absolute value of a negative number, the smaller they get. Okay, so this is actually your smaller number. Okay, so you have negative square root of 27 is less than -3 times pi divided by 2. Okay, so don't forget about those negative numbers and how they go kind of in the opposite order of how you would typically think. Okay.